Yeah, hello team. Good evening. I hope you are able to hear me clearly. So today we are going to learn how to build a route with the help of HTTP post. But this is the most important method which we are going to use daily programming. Okay. So before going to understand HTTP post method, first we should understand few fundamentals like what is HTTP and how we can communicate between a client and server with the help of HTTP and what are the important things we should learn about HTTP request and response. Okay, in this session we are going to focus on HTTP request. In the next session we are going to focus on HTTP response as well. And some important things are there that most of us are familiar with the URL. Okay, but very few students know that there is URI and URN. Okay, that's we are going to understand today. And some of you already know that if you have a URL, you should able to understand, okay, what are these sections, like this is a protocol, subdomain, domain name, and a second level domain, and top level domain, like we can say like a TLD and the path and parameters. Lot of important things are there, so we can focus on at least some fundamentals. Okay, before and at the same time, okay, the last session we build HTTP get routes, right? So today we are going to build HTTP post route, and we are going to use the Postman to test those APIs and few more other interesting stuff. So hopefully you're interested. If you're interested, just give a like so that it will reach more people. And once complete the session, do practice, and give me the confirmation in the comment section that whether you completed or not, so that at least I can understand how many students are learning in a right way. So yeah, team, are you ready? What there in the call?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic, fantastic. So now tell me, what is HTTP stands for?
Hypertext Transfer Protocol.
Yeah, that means suppose if you want to transfer either HTML file or JavaScript file or some data between the client and server, okay, through internet, because we are using HTTP protocol. The protocol means like it's a standard and some rules and regulations only. Okay, so not only HTTP, there are lots of other protocols are there. Suppose like a TLS, DNS, TCP, and other stuff is there. But we can focus on all these things later. But we should aware that there are other protocols also available in the market. So we are focusing on hypertext transfer protocol, and today we are going to learn how to the build HTTP post method. So before that, definitely we should understand some basics. Okay. So here, if you observe carefully, this is the client and this is the server. So generally, we can consider the client as like a web browser, and server like we can build with a Node.js or Java or any other technology. Okay. So here, whenever we are using a HTTP protocol, there is a HTTP request because which we are sending from the client to the server, and server will respond. Okay, that response is like a HTTP response. So far we just did like we just tested the get the route in the browser URL like HTTP colon localhost 3000 and users or something. That's a simplest thing. Like if our get method is very simple, but whenever we are going to the build a post method, we should focus on few more fundamentals. So if you see this HTTP request, okay, now we can, as I said, we are going to focus on the request today. So HTTP method, HTTP request have these are the basic things. Okay, there are few more other things are there that we can focus later. We should have HTTP method that will be like either get, post, put, or delete, or patch, or something. And we should have a URI. I will explain what is the difference between URI and URN and URL. And there is another section called headers and the body. Okay, what is the significance of these headers and what is the significance of this body and what is the significance of this URL? Everything we are going to learn. So before this, I think most of you know that what are the HTTP methods. We can call them as a verbs also, verb. So get, post, put, and delete, and we understand that we can use these methods to define the CRUD operations. Okay, so and suppose normally even we have tested like a simple thing. This is called a URL. So the HTTP colon www.google.com or HTTP colon forward slash or anything like Facebook.com or Google.com and Netflix.com. Normally, we used to call it as a URL. That is correct. So, just can anyone tell me what is the abbreviation of URL? Anyone?
Uniform resource locator.
Yes. What it is? Uniform resource locator. Okay, it will identify a resource based on the location. So because we have like lakhs of computers in the world and every computer is interacting with each other if we have access through internet. So for that we need address, right? Suppose even if you want to send the postcard or postcard, you should put some address of the end user. Okay, so in the same way, if you want to identify any computer or a server, we should have a we can identify with either location or a name or some other identities. So if you see, generally generally URL is a subdomain, like we can subset of a URI. So URI means which specifies the location. Sorry, URI, yeah, that's 1 minute. Yeah, URI which specifies the location is URL, because if you specify the location details, then we can call it as a URL. And if you're specifying with a name, so then we can call it as a URN. And whenever we are dealing with location or name or both the combination, then we can call it as a URI. So normally, even sometimes whenever you are watching some videos or whenever you are learning something, definitely you can find some um, information about URI. They used to call sometimes URI or URL. So now you should clearly understand that URN and URL are parts of URI. So normally in general, most of the time, whenever we are dealing with a web server and whenever we are building a REST APIs, we will deal with a URL. Okay, this is the most preferred way. Okay, sometimes some situations we will identify the resource with the help of a name of the resource. So in that situation, we can call it as a URN. And generally, you can call URL as a URI because URL is a part of URI, and we can call URN as a URI because those are the parts of URI. That's why sometimes you will heard that URI or URL. So the simple thing is, if you're identifying a resource with the help of location, that is URL. If you're identifying the any computer or something with the help of name, resource name, then we can call it as a URN, and combination of both or individual name we can call it as a superset, that is a URI. So now tell me, everyone understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but if you ask like Raghu, just tell me what is UR and how it will work. Really, right now we don't need to focus too much on that. But whenever you have a time, whenever we have a time, definitely we can spend some time to dive deep into these things. Okay, right now, yeah, at least you should know the difference between the URL, URN, and URI. That is enough. So next one is a header. Okay, let's see. Before that, normally most of us are very familiar with this one. Okay, JSON, the placeholder, right? While we are while you are learning JavaScript or whenever you want to test the REST API. So normally we will take a reference of this the fake APIs, and every time we used to test only get method. If you see, if you don't mention anything, by default it will consider as a get method, and you are requesting a server to get to those like based on a ID, or you want the total information. So for that, you can just copy that URL in a browser, right, in a browser, you will get the data. This is very simple. After that, most of the students are not focusing on the post method, but that is very, very important. So even sometimes you can't find that information in a simple way, because you see most of the times we are discussing on a get method, and very few students do practice on the post method, put method, patch method, and delete. Okay, but don't worry, at least we can try to understand the importance of post method and all those things. But here it's a very, very simple thing is, so we are just giving a URL and you are getting the data. You are giving the URL and you are getting the data. And let's see, let's test this the same thing with a Postman. Okay, I already informed you that install the Postman. Okay, how many of you installed Postman on your computer?
Installed, sir.
Definitely I will give you more information. Done, everyone? So hopefully, if you didn't, please do install the Postman quickly. But okay, I will give you some time for you to install. Right now, just focus on what I'm saying. Okay, so I'm just opening the Postman because this is a simple tool or a software to test APIs, because every time we can't build the front end application to send a request to the server, but we need, because who are working on a server, who are building the REST APIs, maybe they don't have knowledge on the front end. So at the time they need to test it, right? Whether the REST, whether request if we got the request from the client, whether it is working or not. So if you see, I'm just pasting this URL here, and by default is a get method. Even if you want to change, you can change it. But right now, we want some data from the server. So if you send a request, okay, you will get the data. Okay, you got the data. You see, you got the data. Okay, but most of the time, suppose login form, okay, or any registration form, suppose email, okay, registration form, email registration, create an account. Suppose if you just click on create an account, it will ask us to fill at least 3 to 5 uh, information. Okay, first name and last name. Okay, yeah. But don't worry, I'm just taking some time to explain in detail. So if you see, it is asking a month or day, okay, lots of information, or email ID or phone number. It is seven, gender, male. Next. So of course, it is asking in a different screens, but most of the times you will get in a one pop up or one the web page. So you need to fill all the details. Okay, now at the same time, so you we need to send a request to the server. We need to send a request to the server. Just a minute, it will take some time. So this is just get the details, okay? But you want to create a user profile. You want to create a user profile on a database, a new user. Suppose Gmail, you want to create a new user. So for that, it is asking a name, first name and last name, and date of birth, and some maybe phone number or gender. So you need to send that data also, right? That data also. Suppose here, for example, yeah, just go with if you want to create a new to-do. So for that, you need to send some information. How we will send that information? So whether we will attach the data like this, see, sometimes we will pass data. Suppose user name equal to something, password is equal to something, and phone number is equal to something. Like that, if you pass this information, it is going to, this is not secure. And at the same time, sometimes if you want to send suppose 20 uh, diff, 20 fields, like use first name, last name, gender, age, salary, like that, if you want to fill, if you want to send some the 20 properties details, so at the time it's really difficult to pass that information in the URL. Okay, this is the URL. Okay, what it is, Okay, if you have only one URL and for get method, it's easy. But if you want to send some information, because here along with this, if you want to get if you want to send a request to the server, you need a URL. Okay, apart from that, suppose you should able to pass the data. Suppose the first name, you need to pass the first name, you should pass the last name, you should pass the age, you should able to pass the gender. Like that, you should send this information to the server, then only it will create, right? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you don't pass it, how this server will knows that to create a user profile for you? No. So we should pass the information. How we can pass that information? How we can pass information? Okay, maybe some people say that
Post-
we can pass that information with the path parameters like this, but that is not the right way every time. So HTTP request, okay, this HTTP request not only have a URL, not only hold the URL, so you can pass some information, because if you want to pass this kind of information, you can pass through body of the request. What it is? Tell me.
Body of the request.
Yeah, body of the request. Okay, where is that body of the request and where we need to add everything? I will explain. And sometimes we should send not only not only the user data. Sometimes we should send some information to the server like that. Okay, uh, the tokens. Tell me, can anyone knows what is token? Okay.
Cookies.
Yeah. Okay. You can store the token in cookies, right? So what is a token? Okay, no problem. I will help you. I will help you. I will explain you. So if you see, normally, suppose if you have a bank account, okay, you have an online account, you will enter user ID and password and something, right? So the server will send the request will send to the server, and after that you will get an access and you can go to the home page of that the HDFC Bank or SBI Bank. Okay, but next time you are doing a transfer, right, from one account to another account. So at the time, whenever you are transferring the account, whenever you are transferring the money from one account to other account, or whenever you are doing some transactions, every time it is not going to ask you to enter username and password, right? Whether it will ask every time or it will give some ideal time. In that time, you can do transactions.
Until unless you log out somewhere.
Yeah. Either you logged out, or suppose if you don't take any action for some time, the it will ask you to re-enter user ID and password. But here we should understand that whenever we send a request to the server like a logged in, so the server will generate a token. Server will generate a token to you. So it will it will pass that token in the response, okay, to the client again. So next time, whenever you are doing transactions, suppose one account to another account, at the time you don't need to enter user ID and password. So second time onwards, what we need to send? We should send the token. Okay, token. Then the server will recognize that, okay, this is a valid token. I know based on this token, he will understand that who is the user and all those things, and how it will, we can discuss later. Okay, don't worry. So here, that means the server should remember the user for some time. Okay, for that it will generate a token. But suppose from the second time onwards, if you want to do any transactions, you should pass the token as well. Can anyone tell me how we can pass a token? Because HTTP request is there. One thing is URL. In the body we are sending the use like a login form data or some user data or a post information, but you want to send some information like a token or some other some like if you want to say that I will accept only JSON format. So I will accept only JSON format. So for that, how we can pass now? Can anyone knows about this? Anyone? Okay, no one knows. No problem. So we can pass that information. Now, tell me,
Header.
headers, because that's the only option, right? So in the body, we are sending some user data or post data, and URL. Okay, we is going to identify the location, the resource with the help of location or a name or something. And if you want to pass any extra information like a tokens or something, we should pass in the header. Okay, understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now these four things are very, very important. One is HTTP method, next one is a URL or URN or URI, and the third one is the headers, and the fourth one is the body. Okay, this HTTP request has these many things. Okay, we can take help of these things and we can send a proper information to the server to take the proper action. So how we can pass the information through application, how we can pass this information with the help of Postman, we are going to learn today. So observe carefully. So most of us are very, very familiar with JSON placeholder, right? Observe carefully. So in the fetch API, in the fetch function, so normally we are passing just a URL, right? Previously, but you can pass the extra object. In that you can mention method and body. Suppose here we are just taking information from the HTML file and we are parsing that. I will explain in few minutes or something. So and header. So if you see, I'm just passing the content type application or JSON. So I will accept this kind of data only. Or if you want to pass any the tokens, you can write authorization colon and you can pass the token. Okay. This is very, very important. So now tell me, are you ready to learn how to pass this information through headers and the body and the post method? Okay, who are watching this video in a YouTube, just give a like because this information is very, 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 very important. Okay, many people, many 50 to 60% of the students are just practicing only get method. Especially I'm saying the front end developers. So they should know how to pass, how to deal with the post method also, how we can pass the tokens, how we can pass the body. Okay, everything. Okay, I hope you will learn now. So fantastic. So now, if you see here, observe carefully. In the Postman, it is providing the option for us to add headers here. And if you want to pass any information, you can pass the body. But whenever we are dealing with a HTML file with the help of JavaScript or something, so you can pass that information. Just a minute. You can pass that information as an object. Okay, this is the best example. If you see, this is the fetch API. So we are just invoking the fetch, and here you can pass the URL, and after that you can pass another parameter, another argument, that is a method. You can mention the post and the more cards. Okay, this we can discuss in few days. Okay, the cards policy, and even you can mention that what is a cache. Okay, whether you want to allow us to cast the information or something on credentials, headers, something. Okay, this is the one example on an official documentation like MD and web docs. Okay, so fine. So I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you to understand all this toughest stuff, but I will try to make it very, very simple. So now here, okay, I hope you have done a practice. So we build HTTP get some default route, and if you want to get some users, we have done. If you want to get some posts, we have done. Let's see whether it is working or not. First of all, let's run the server. Okay, I'm just running the server with the help of uh, just a node. I'm not using a node mon because I want to stop it regularly to save some memory on my machine. So right now this server is up and running. So observe carefully. This is the URL right now. We can test our own APIs with the help of Postman. Okay. So now what I'm doing here, Control A, Control V. So this is the get method, so that you don't need to pass any headers, you don't need to pass any body, because if you just give a proper the resource URL, so it will get the data. So because we have given already get, so I want the user's details. So that is whenever we hit that button, so it will invoke this route and it will send the user's data. So let's see what is the user data. We have some, I think 10 or 10 records are there. So hopefully we will get that information. So just I'm clicking on send. So if you see, we got the data. We got the data. So in the same way, if you want post information, you can say that posts. So now you will get the post information which is there in our server. So post 1, post 2, post 3, and post 4, and some blah blah blah. So now this is a time to learn how to deal with the post method. So first of all, we can do some changes in the code. Okay, meanwhile, I'll just stop the server. I will run whenever it is required. But you can deal with a node, man. This is very simple, very simple. So I'm just taking. So here I'm just writing. Now, whenever you want to deal with the post method, yeah, this Express server, this application, this object has a post method. So in the same way, so what do you want to post? User. So let's deal with the user, and I'm just putting comma and the pass the callback function. This callback function have a request and response as a parameters. So let's find. So you will get the request. You will get the request. So suppose right now we can deal with a very simple information, that user ID and password. Okay. Suppose there is a user login form. Okay, and we have a simple button here. Simple button. And suppose if you have two text boxes, one is user ID, another one is a password. So this is a server which we are building. What is the name of our server? Tell me.
Localhost.
Yesterday we have given some name.
City.
City.
Chitti.
Yeah. What is the URL? HTTP colon
Localhost.
localhost 3000. This is the URL, and based on whether it is a get method or a post method, our server, our city is going to respond. Right now we don't have a database. I think next week definitely we are going to store the information in the MongoDB Atlas, and we are going to do all the CRUD operations with the help of the MongoDB. Okay, fine. So here user ID and password. So here whenever you enter user ID and password, whenever you hit this button, we should send the request. So we should say that, right? Suppose we have users data, and we have the post data, and maybe you have orders data in a database. But right now we are just maintaining the data in a array, in the local file. Okay, users data or post data. Okay, right now I want to make it empty everything, so that I want to post some information. This is the complex one. Leave it. I will create one more thing. Like constant, okay, users equal to this mg array. Right now this mg array, and here now we can do daily. So here one important thing is, suppose you need to mention that, right? You are sending user ID and password, whether you want to store in users, whether you want to store in post, whether you want to store in orders. So we should inform to the server, right? We should inform server in a clear way. For that, our URL should be like this. Okay, http localhost 3000 3000, and I'm just sending user data. That's why just please construct the URL and the route the same way. So user slash user. That means yes, I'm sending user data. And which method you want to use? Tell me. Get or post?
Post.
Okay, now we are going to use the post method, and you want to send user ID and password, right? So how we'll pass? With the help of the body, and
Body.
here you can pass that information in a JSON format because that is a preferred way. And if you want to add any headers, yes, we can add some headers. That is another object. So everything will reach to the server, and server will retrieve the information with a request, because here there is a simple object called request, right? So whenever you send a request to the server, it will hold all the information. It will hold the URL, it will hold the headers information, it will hold the body information. Everything will be there in that object, so that you can, with the help of this object, you can read the information. So let's see whether we are able to do it successfully. So here our idea is we want to send the in the body simple data, that is JSON format. Key also should be in a double quotations, and value also in a double quotation. So here I'm just passing information ID, or even if you want, deal with user ID, and user ID as Raghu or SVJ, whatever it prefer. Just you can give your name, and again I want to send the password. I want to send the password. So password like 12345 something. So this is a JSON format data. So that we should put that information in the body. The headers, okay. Right now we can do like content type is application slash JSON, the basic, the header we can pass it. So now we understand, okay, we are dealing with a post method, and the route will be the user, and we are sending some data in the body. So let's prepare the server first. So here, once you got the response, first we can do a console.log, whether we can check whether we are really receiving the data or not. So what I'm doing here, I'm just putting console.log request.body, because we are going to pass that user details through body object, so that let's see whether it is working or not. So I'm just simply sending response dot the send. Okay, yeah, we received data from client. It's a generic message. That's simple, because whenever you send a request properly, it is going to invoke this route. So it will give all the information which is there in the request, and you can read that what is there inside the body, and you can do console.log, and you can send some simple message to the client again that we received the data from you. Yeah, be happy. Okay, fine. So now how to send that? First we should prepare our request also. So here http localhost 3000. What is that? We are passing the user details. That's why we are passing the proper URL. And what is the method?
Post.
The post. And here important thing is we should pass some data in the body. So right now just take raw, option raw, and here change this from text to JSON, so that it's better to pass the data in a JSON format. So now I'm passing the data in a JSON format. Just use double quotations, and everyone should do practice, okay, JSON formats. So here I'm just passing user ID as ESVGIE, and password as, again, okay, right now I'm just passing in a string format. Don't worry, later we can discuss if we want to pass another format in the value. So this is our body is also ready. This will be a JSON format, and this is in the raw. So and Headers, I'm just saying that, okay, that's content type, because the data what we are transferring, that should be application / JSON. Okay, that is enough. Even if you want to add that character set, you can add it right now. So make it simple. This is enough for us. Okay. Sorry. We're talking. We are sending the information through body, and that is there in. We are passing the content type as application JSON, and the method is post, and the URL is there. Okay. So whenever you click on this send button, so it will form everything as a request. It will hold the HTTP method, it will hold the body, it will hold the headers, and it will hold the URL. And through that HTTP protocol, it will transfer the request through internet from client to the server. Right now, of course, server is there in my machine only, so it's a local host, so it will take only a few seconds to reach the server. So first, let's run the server node index. Okay, so the server is up and running. Okay, up and running. Now tell me how many of you are confident that if I click on this send button, we should get the response. How many of you are confident that you will get the data? First of all, how many of you are there? How many of you are listening? Okay, let's see, because there are some twists and turns are there. So let's send a request from a client to the server. I just clicked on that. Oh, we received data from the client. That's successful. And oh my God, it is showing undefined. It is showing undefined, but we got the response that, okay, we received data from client, but server is saying that the data is undefined. Okay, at least we have sent a request to the server, that is successful, and we got some response from the server. Server is saying that, okay, we received. Okay, maybe something happened here. Okay, something wrong here. We can fix that. Okay, but apart from that, understood everyone? Understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, super. Do you need a break for 1 minute or 2 minutes, or shall we continue?
Continue, sir.
Continue. Okay, good. So fine. So why it is showing undefined? This is very important, because of course, actually we have sent the information properly, but something went wrong in the middle. Okay, how to fix this issue mean? So there is a another concept called middleware. Okay, just note down, everything is an interview question. Okay, everything is an interview question. So what I'm saying, this is middleware. Okay, so there is a problem that, okay, we are sending a request, we are sending the information in a JSON format only, but server is not trusting our data. Server have really some doubts and some problem with our data. So that to solve that, we are going to take help from one middleware. Okay, of course, we are going to learn in detail in coming sessions, but here we are going to install that middleware and we are going to use it. Okay, so the middleware name is that JSON. Sorry, what JSON parser. So again, we need to take help from npm JS. Okay, let me stop the server for some time. Not JSON, body parser. Body. Okay, body parser. So this is the another npm package which is going to help us to build a trust between the client and server whenever we are passing the information, especially in a JSON format. Okay, in detail we are going to learn in coming session, because we have only 14 minutes. So that let's install it and fix the issue quickly. So I'm just installing this package npm install body parser. So it will install that the node module or node package, and this is the middleware. Okay, note down some. Okay, in the interviews they will ask what is a middleware in Node.js or Express.js. Okay. Clear? So right now I install the body parser so that you can check the dependencies. Yes, it is there. We install the body parser successfully. So how to use this body parser? Okay, let's import that one. Import here the constant body parser. So you can always go with the camel casing. It's much more preferable way. UI or you require, what's that? Body parser. So here, okay, how to use this body parser? How, because there is a concept called middleware. So you should use all the imports here and initializations here, and after that we can use the middleware. Okay, here I'm just adding middleware middleware section. Okay, because by end of this project we are going to install lots of middlewares. Okay. Here, how to use that middleware now? This we are informing that Express server application just use this middleware. What is the middleware? Body parser dot. So why we are using this middleware now? This server have some trust issues whether you are really sending the JSON data in a JSON format or not. Okay, if I have a confidence that you are passing the information in a JSON format, I will proceed. Otherwise, I will consider it as a undefined. I don't consider your data. So that this body parser.json will check whether we are sending the information in the JSON format or not. So that if it is there in the JSON format, it will allow us and it will make our application successful. So let's see. Now we have done. I'm running the server one more time. That is a node index. So now the server is up and running and at the same the location. And now let's see. So of course we didn't change anything. Now I'm just the same data and the same headers and same URL and same HTTP method. And I'm just clicking on the button send. Yes, here of course we receive the data from the client, but let's see whether really the server is saying data or not. Yeah, we got the data. Server received the data in a JSON format and this is successful. This is successful. Understand everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Understood or not? Okay, very good, very good, very good. This is the most important thing. So what we can do with the data? Because once you send users details to the server, we can store that information in the users array. Okay, users array. So what I will do? There is a users array. Okay, can anyone suggest me how we can store this into a users table, users array? Tell me which method?
Push.
Push.
Thank you. So you can push the data, right? Request. Let's see whether it is there in a same format or the format is wrong. And you can do. So now again for namesake, after pushing the data into that array, I'm just trying to print that array here. What is that? Users array. That's for just for the confirmation. Control C, clear. So and running the server one more time. Server is up and running. Okay, I'm sending a request again. Once you restart the server, data will be initialized whatever there in index.js file. So yes, so if you see, yes, this is the array. We have inserted one item, Now I'm going to insert, I'm going to send next user details, okay, in the body. Now I'm passing, okay, Pankaj and 1234. Okay, what will happen? Just tell me. If I click on this send, it will receive the data, and it will push that new user into existing user array, right? So that we should get two users details here in that array. So if it is successful, so send, yeah, we received the data from the client. Let's see how many users are there in the database. Okay, right now just consider it is a database. Okay, two users. Now who is
Yes.
ready to send? Just tell me. Can I add your name? Who is ready? Just tell me your name. I will add it. Can I create a user profile for you in Chitty? No one is interested. మీరు ఎవరైనా పేరు చెప్తే మీ పేరును మీ పేరు మీద ఒక ప్రొఫైల్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తాను.
Sai, sir.
ఓకే, మీకు ఇష్టం లేకపోతే వద్దు, నో ప్రాబ్లం. సో సాయి 123, just kidding. So we can create a user profile for Sai. Let's see, it's working. Okay, so now tell me, understood or not one more time, so that I will explain one more super cool thing for you. Okay, so fine. So we have created a data, right? We understand how to post the user details, and so that we are storing the information in the server. So, and I want to get the same details which we have created. Okay, how many users are there in the database? Okay, let's say what I'm doing here. I'm just removing this old data to avoid the confusion. Okay, this is the users now. Whenever you hit this get method, previously what we have built yesterday. So what I will do? So whenever you send a request with the help of get method, and if you want users details, whatever the users are there in this list, because whenever you run the application it will be empty, and whenever you send a request from the client to the server, it will add the new items into this users array, and whenever user wants to read those users details, you will get it again. So now let me do one thing, because I want to stop the server because I don't want to use the node more. So node index, first I will create three user profiles quickly. The one is Sai and 123. Okay, done. The second one is Mayur and 1234. Okay, done. Third one is, tell me any name.
Pawan Kumar.
Pawan Kumar. Srujan and Pawan Kumar. Okay, so 1234. Fine. So just send the request to the server, so that let's see, because whether server is really storing our data or not, I want to get my data back. So let's open another tab. Okay, you want what? Users details. Okay, if you see, the URL should be plural, like users. Whenever you are creating a user data, it should be user. Okay, here we want users details, because that is the route which we have defined. So get method, here we don't need to send any information from the client to the server. So this is an empty URL. Only one URL is enough, and the get method, that is enough. Okay, how many of you are confident that we will get the data back? One, two, three. Okay, no problem. So let's see. Hey, we got the data. Sai and Mayur and Pawan. Okay, I will do one thing. Let's create another resource. Sujan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, data is created successfully. And the get method, just check, just cross check whether we will get the data or not. See, you got the data. Srujan, Pavan, Mayur. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, how many of you love this concept? So I know, like, of course, I just explained you didn't practice so far, so that it's difficult to digest the concept, but just do practice 1 or 2 times. Okay, just create empty folder, install all the packages, and build the routes, install the expresses, and build the server, and do play with the get method and post method, pass the header and all those things, okay, properly. Okay, and do practice. Okay, I'm saying, if you don't do practice, you can't understand anything. If you don't revise, you can't remember anything. And that is very important. The practice is very important, and again, you should revise. You should not forget what you have learned. So Saturday, Sunday, we don't have any sessions because you should do practice one more time. You should revise the concepts one more time, and at least you should have some break. Okay. Okay. Any questions here? Let me cross check. Is there anyone in my YouTube? Meanwhile, you can ask me any question. We have at least 2 3 minutes. Maybe some of you already tried to digest this complex concept, but it's very easy because if you do practice 1 or 2 times, definitely after 1 2 weeks, you feel that this is very simple. Okay, I think no questions from anyone in the. Meanwhile, you can ask me any question. We have at least 2 3 minutes.
సార్
Okay, yeah, ask me.
సార్ ఇప్పుడు మనం బాడీలో సెండ్ చేసిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ పోస్ట్ చేసి గెట్ చేస్తున్నాం కదండి సార్.
Oh no.
ఇన్ కేస్ మనం అది ఫ్రంట్ ఎండ్ అప్లికేషన్ నుంచి చేయాలంటే ఎలా చేస్తారు సార్?
Yeah, అది ఇప్పుడు ఎలా చేస్తాం?
అంటే లాగిన్ బటన్ క్లిక్ అయిన తర్వాత ఆ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఎక్కడ స్టోర్ అవుతుంది?
ఏం చేస్తామంటే, so whenever you build a front end application, whenever you click on a button, you are going to invoke this post data, right? Maybe some method. Yes or no?
ఎస్ సార్.
So here you should pass the URL like http um, like www.myserver.com /API /user. Okay, and this is the object. This is the object, and here method is post, and you can remove all these things. Header content type application.json, and body. Here, you know, right, how to read information from the text box. Yes or no? If you have a HTML file, if you have a button, if you click on that button, you're invoking that function. Can you read the data which you have entered in the text box? How to read information from the text box? Document.get element by ID.
ఎస్ సార్.
Yeah, just read that information and just construct an object and pass it to this object. That's it. It will work. Otherwise, okay, 1 minute only. 1 minute. Don't worry. I have some sample code. We can test it. Just client. Yeah, I have only simple HTML file. Okay, this is a simple two text boxes, one button like add or submit. Okay, this is there in the. If you see, we are reading a name and username and password like this. Okay, just created two text boxes with username ID and password ID, and just read that information and simple. Just construct. If you see, this is a URL. This is a URL. Okay, if you try with the local host, it will throw an error, course error, CORS. Right now, just try with the JSON placeholder. Okay, the posts and this is the method is a post and body JSON the string file because you should convert it as a JSON string so that the title colon name, okay, it is reading from this variable, body this information is reading from this variable, and the header, that's it. And once you invoke this one, it will return a promise and you are executing that, you will get the data. Okay, after that, once you got the data, here again on the HTML file we are adding the title and body. Okay, let's see is working or not. So carefully here the name and body, and just I'm adding like a Bhavita and password like 1234. So just click on this add. So the information is storing in the JSON placeholder server, and it is returning the promise, and it is giving the confirmation, and you are getting the saved data again. Bhavita and 1234. Got it, Bhavita? Everyone who are watching, this is very important. Okay, I will do one thing. I will give you this the chart. Just quickly copy this one. I forgot that the website. Otherwise, I will give the URL. Just copy this one. Noted. Who are watching this in a YouTube, I will find that the website, and I will attach that website link in the description so that you can practice on the same. So if you understand what is promises, it's very simple code. It's very simple code. So you have two text boxes, the title and the body, and you are once you click on a button, so you are able to read that information from here. And, yeah, simple. We are using the fetch API JSON placeholder. This is a URL, and the extra information about the head and body and method we are passing here as an object. That's it. Object format. In future authentication, we will pass the tokens and everything in the header section. Yeah, got it, Bhavita?
Yes, sir.
Okay, note down. You have copied this code from the chat. Okay, if not, of course, I have a backup. I will send you in the email, or I will find out the URL of that website and I will send it. And tomorrow is a Saturday and okay weekend, so no sessions on Saturday, Sunday. So please do practice. Once you understand, just create a separate folder, install all the packages, and implement everything. Okay, and once you are completed, if possible, just open this YouTube channel and just leave a comment that completed. So so that what will happen, so suppose if any new student came to our YouTube channel, so if you are doing, and if he will get some comments, okay, maybe this YouTube channel is useful for students, okay, some students are learning, so that it will be, they will get some confidence, okay, we can help more students. So for that only, so that, okay, that's absolutely your choice. Okay, and fine. Yeah, if you don't have any questions, we can drop off and enjoy the weekend, and see you on Monday with another super interesting concept. But if you don't do practice now, I'm saying you can't understand anything. Automatically, you will drop off from the batch after a few days. So that is your choice. Okay. What are the weekend plans, Pawan?